What's up, guys? This is my final video of 2024. Things went well. I made top cut, but the more the reality of it is, it's very easy to bubble. So there's a good chance if you're watching this video, I bubbled out, and I am not in the contention for finals. But if I am, hey, great! I'm proud of myself either way. It was a good year. This is the final version. Man, we tried a bunch of other cards. The cool part about traveling the world was we got to see ratios and to try stuff. And at the end of the day, we figured out where we think we wanted to be. What's fun about card games is it's just kind of like what you want to do. You just want to have fun, play a list that suits your style. I'm not really good at keeping track of stuff, so I want my cards to like be very linear as possible and just powerful. And that's what this deck is. It's really just this card. I always talk about what makes Gohan so good. If they ever want to neuter this card, this deck, it's really just this card. This is the only card they have to affect. And until they do that, this deck will be viable. You'll just switch out cards. Like if they screw with Cooler, switch out another card. If they switch with the Unison, switch out another card, so on and so forth. This is the meat and potatoes of the deck. Um, but yeah, this is the final build. I just want to say thanks for all the fans. It's weird when you win as much as I did this year because you get a lot of like positivity and you get a lot of negativity. So if you were a really fun person and you like supported me with like nice messages or just being cool, I appreciate it because I just play card games for fun and to make a lot of money. So it was definitely that for this year. Pretty much it's almost what I played for Latin America, except for if you notice in Latin America we ran 5 unisons. It didn't really work. I was slow. I couldn't kill people. I was going to like turn 5 every game. What we realized was Zamasu needed to be main. It's how you beat blue. It's how you beat green. It's how you beat yellow. So if it's meant to beat all those colors, just play it. What's really cool about Fuse Zamasu is your goal is to have two. So against U7, you can play one early game, and then they'll be thinking, well, he doesn't have another one, and then voila, you can surprise them because this card kills their 6 drop, and if you kill their 6 drop, you win the game, generally speaking. Um, the only card where I'm a little bit of question about, and if you see me not do well, I'll probably talk about is this card. I really wonder if I should be running 2 for the main event. Went back and forth on it. Very good into red and blue, and terrible into green and yellow. So scary, to say the least. I also considered cards like Kamehameha and other stuff. I never found the room. You'll see in this build we have 4 cells Kamehameha. That was just how you beat majority of good players. When it comes down to it, this is a passive deck that feels aggressive. Once your opponent taps out or they have a small hand size, you just kind of go for it and you kill them. But until that point, you want to be strong and survive. And what's nice about Cells Kamehameha is it gets you to 30k, and generally in this game, 25k is the basic math. And so if your opponent does go to even 30k, you can go to 35, use your leader ability, and use the cells to get out of big attacks. Very relevant, especially against like Yellow U7, who will play Majin Vegeta and other cards. So you're kind of just chilling when you know big attacks are coming. And then if they combo a lot of cards or they lose card advantage because of it, it makes it even better because now you've got a card from their hand and you've successfully defended, so you've gained card advantage. As you guys see here, I didn't want to play Bulma. She's terrible. But consistency wise, I got 10 rounds. I got to win 8 of them at minimum, if not 9. So Bulma is a requirement, especially if I go first. You cannot afford to miss Vegeta. We tried out this build, and if you miss Vegeta, you lose like 80% of the game. When it comes to Z deck, this is almost perfect. I wish I could have 8 cards. If I could, I'd have another Son Goku here because this Frieza's not good in 90% of your matches. But the few that he is good, like in the black and other late game cards, you have to run it. I also think first blue, I'd really like to have a flex spot here, but I don't have any flex spots. These are the cards for the deck. Cunning is for 21. This is for green. This is for yellow. This is also for green. This is for Expert 21 and regular 21. This is for U7 and only U7. You really don't need it against green. Jaren is there for, of course, Android 21 and also any ramp decks that may exist. We have Golden Frieza for cooler and Son Gohan also for that cooler match, along with the 2 King Vegetas. And last but of course, not least, Majin Buu. Majin Buu also comes in red matches, so that's kind of fun. Is that if it goes grindy, you just make them discard 2 cards from their hand, which they usually can't like handle and you get rid of like their location, it can be a huge deal. Some builds aren't running two. You should be running two if you're running the red Future Gohan deck. You'll see here we only run a singleton of Vegeta protecting his loved ones. That's because blue isn't very good right now, and I don't expect good players to be on blue. I expect him to be on yellow, as it is the best color, but I never know everything. Coit scares me of a card because it's black, and if you like, you can't charge it. And so if you're running two Coit and Secret ID and two Zamasus, your charges actually get really awkward because Zamasu can't be charged due to the change on this card. You have to have only mono green energy, so we had to cut a Coit. That's one of the biggest changes I don't like about this list, but it was no choice. Things to keep in mind is going to be really, this comes down to knowing the matchup. So, for example, sideboard, I need to bring in about 6 cards versus the mirror, right? So you take out your King Colds and you take out your King Vegetas and your Frieza, and you bring in these 4, this 5, and this 6, right? So we have that pretty great. If you want, you can also bring in this Golden Frieza as a one of, just kind of like a late game trick. Not terrible, but we generally don't. If you're playing against U7, we do kind of something similar. Cooler is still great. Frieza is still great. But we kind of run into this little issue where Quake kind of sucks because we don't need it anymore, right? And Secret ID definitely is just terrible, right? U7 doesn't care about a bunch of little battle cards. So what we generally want to do is lose Quake. We generally want to lose Trunks. Those two for sure come out, and those become King Vegetas. And then we have to figure out which card do we not want for Haru Haru, and that's where it's always the hardest. I usually just take out Cooler. In my opinion, Cooler's the weakest in the U7 because generally speaking, he's only a 20k, and that's not enough. And so I like to take that card out and bring in some other goodies like Hunt of the Demon God. Also feels pretty good sometimes. And that's kind of it. Like you just have fun. So hopefully, like I said, I did well and I did a good job. But either way, man, what a cool year. I went like the goal at the start of the year was I knew I was going to have probably a few nationals. I didn't know how many, but I told myself, hey, I enjoy traveling and seeing other card players and just meeting friends and just having a good time. And so I told myself, hey, just try to gold once. If you get a gold medal once, it pays for all these trips and you can just have a good time and maybe even keep your paper. And then we got gold twice. Like that was such a cool opportunity for us because now I might get to keep my gold Gohan, which I'd really like to do. It's a cool piece of favorite stuff because it was always my favorite saga was Cell Saga. I can't think of anything else I've enjoyed more than that. And yeah, it's just a fun year. So hopefully, though, man, it'd be really great to have 3 for 3. I'll take second for US because then I can play in Worlds. But if not, it was a really fun year, and I thanks for everybody who was a part of it. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. I don't feel like I like where Dragon Ball's going for competitive play, but for collecting, I still will be collecting Dragon Ball like crazy. I just haven't figured it out. But we have a nice long time to figure it out, where I can just focus on some fitness and try to get a little bit less chunky because I definitely enjoyed my winter a little too much. Thanks again, guys, and hopefully you'll have to let me know how I did at the end.